Hey guys, got another video for you on like what lures to choose, why, and how to accessorize soft plastic baits. So if you're a young person and you're just getting into the hobby of bass fishing, then of course you're like me. You probably don't have a money tree in the backyard. You're looking to get into something very efficiently without a huge amount of investment financially, right? And you also don't want to risk too much. So I'm going to make a case for soft plastic baits or lures and compare them with some hard lures. So this is an excellent little lure. It's hard lure. Now it has 2 treble hooks, so it has a total of 6 hooks, and those hooks are small and hard to keep your eyes on. This is also a fairly expensive lure. Hard lures in general, whether they're the big topwater baits, big crankbaits, things like that, can be pretty expensive. A lot of lures go for $10 plus. You can spend as much as $20 on some of the soft plastic frogs and things like that out there. Then $10, $12, $13 is not that uncommon. Now, a soft plastic bait, this is a Zoom Super Fluke, as you can see, can mimic bait fish of a similar size or even much, much larger. You can get huge soft plastic baits that you really can't even really buy very many hard baits that are that size. If you wanted to put that profile out there, there's some of the big swim baits, but those can be $100 lure. So these are much more affordable. A package of these, you get a package of 10 of these for about $6, $6 or $7. So that's a much better investment or lower investment for getting into this little hobby. Now you need some hooks to go with these. The hooks will be somewhere about $5 or so, depending on how many you can get. If you get about $7 worth, then there's approximately at least 6 lures that you can make out of the hooks and soft plastics using a Texas rig or a screw lock rig or any of those. For your whatever $10 or $12 that you're in, then you can make a lot of lures out of it. Now, those only have 1 hook. So I'll show you a weightless rig. You've seen this rig before. I showed it in another video. Anyway, there's only 1 hook. There's only 1 hook to worry about. There's 1 hook in the fish that you need to get out and everything else. And while you're doing that, there's not 5 other hooks that can get caught in your fingers or your hands. With these hard baits, with treble hooks all over them, are actually kind of dangerous, particularly if you're new to this and you haven't worked with treble hooks before. They can very easily end up in your fingers or hands when you got a fish flopping around with a bunch of treble hooks in its mouth. So there's my case for soft plastics. Soft plastics are safer for you getting into this sport. A lot of times they're safer for the fish. The fish doesn't end up with treble hooks in its gills or in its eyes, things like that. So a lot of times we're using soft plastics, we're returning these fish back to the wild in a much better condition. So there's my case for soft plastics. Now let's talk about accessorizing soft plastics kind of on a budget. So I talked about this rig earlier in another video, and I said what I wish I had on it was a worm rattle, which is what this is. It's as you see, it's a little plastic tube, a couple little beads in it, or a glass tube with beads in it, and I'm going to insert that right where the kind of the tail portion comes off the body portion of this worm. And I'll shove it in there till it's flush. And I don't know if you can hear that, probably not. But anyway, now this thing is going to make a little bit of rattling sound as I twitch it through the water and as it falls and dips and dives. And the other thing is it's back here and the pre-weighted hook is up here. So now this bait is going to have this fall like this, and this little tail is going to be twitching around back here. And it's going to look like something that's trying to swim and then it's dying, and it's just barely hanging on. And it tries to swim a little bit and it's dying, right? And fish come after that rig like crazy. Now, it's been raining for days at this moment, so I've got really, really muddy water to work with today. So I'm going to show you, if you've got muddy water, one of the ways you can accessorize. So this is a small baby brush hog in Bourbon Blaze, this is called. But anyway, It's got silver metal flake in it in orange plastic, so it's shining like crazy. You probably can't see it on the camera, but this thing's glittery as can be. Now, I use this kind of stuff a lot. This is a dipping die, and this particular brand is called Dip and Glow. Is this brand? Now you can get some that's garlic scented, some that's not scented, some that's all sort of different stuff. And I think Spike It, the company that makes Dip and Glow, as I recall, I think they make 10 or 12 different colors of this stuff. I use the chartreuse and the red. So here's how you use this stuff. Now remember, in muddy water, you want a lot of contrast. So what I do is kind of hold back those, and you just dip it. You don't have to, there's no like magic potions or scientific process here. There we go. Now I've got some red, a little more contrast on that lure, and that's going to stand out a little bit better in muddy water. And this is another way to accessorize soft plastics. This stuff lasts forever. You can have a couple of bottles of it, a couple of different colors, and you'll probably have this stuff for like 10 years. You can use it many times on tons and tons of soft plastics. Now you can see that red is really starting to darken up now, that dyes. And so there's a lot of contrast going on that crazy little lure there. Anyway, you can use that stuff over and over and over again, and it's not very expensive in the first place. I think each bottle is only like $5, and you can keep it for like a decade. So it's a fantastic way if you're getting into bass fishing and you're gonna stick with soft plastics, you wanna accessorize those plastics, but you're on a budget, try Rattles and Dipping Die.